G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/EntitledParents video. Now if you love me as much as I love you, you'd mosey on over to the old like button and tackle it like Steve Irwin would a croc. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments too, who knows. Now with that out of the way, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some good content. Entitled family verbally abused my 9-year-old daughter, calling her fat and worthless. I lose it. Okay, so for some background information. I'm a father of a 9-year-old girl who's my whole world. Her mother and I split up 3 months after her birth when I found out she had been cheating. Naturally, I got a DNA test, and thankfully she was mine. Problem is, her mother doesn't care about her health. She feeds her whatever she wants and even gives her coffee and donuts for breakfast sometimes. It's a mess. I've called CPA and the police in the past for wellness checks, but it's gotten me nowhere. So since she was about 4, she's had weight issue. Now on to today's story that happened about an hour ago. Our cast are EK1, entitled Kid 1, about 13 to 14. EK2, entitled Kid 2. Same age, they honestly looked like twins, but definitely brothers. EM entitled Mother, ED entitled Father, and MD my little girl, and me. So my daughter is aware she's overweight. She's teased constantly at school, so I've made it a habit to visit her at least 3 times a week, each week for lunch, as she always asks me to come so she can eat lunch in peace from the bullies. This weekend was her weekend with me, and she has taken a liking to basketball, which I think is great. And she asked me this morning to go to the park down the road in our community to shoot some baskets with her. Of course, I say yes and we go. When we get there, I park and immediately notice 2 kids, EK1 and 2, sitting at one of those park tables, cussing and throwing basketballs back and forth at each other. I pay them no mind and we walk up to the court that isn't being used. I also notice 2 adults, who end up being our entitled parents. About mid-30s, sitting on a park bench about 30 feet away, smoking and messing around on their phones. We start shooting and she's having fun when I hear it. EK1's like, "Get the hell off the court, fat ass. We were about to use it and you're too fat to play anyways. Look, you can't even make a shot." My daughter is 9 and still learning, mind you. EK2's like, "Yeah, maybe go home and use a treadmill." They both start laughing. Now, they said this with me right in front of them, and I'm ticked. I'm a big guy, about 6'1", 190 pounds, and unlike others, I don't like confrontation. But I'm not scared to engage if necessary. I say, "Okay, first off, both of you kids watch your dang mouths and do not insult my daughter again. You really think that's okay? Insulting someone on something so sensitive and think it's a laughing matter? Your parents are doing something wrong." That's when the parents, who were still at their bench, hear me and join in on the fun. For them at least. They say, "Who the hell do you think you are? Why are you yelling at my sweet boys? You better watch what you say, dude." I say to them, "Your precious boys are standing here insulting my daughter and calling her fat. You two really think that's okay? To insult a child younger than them over something she's already bullied about at school? We're here trying to get some exercise in and play some basketball. And just have fun. I don't need to deal with you and your little punk-ass boys insulting her." Entitled Mum looks at me without blinking, like what I just said was a special at a restaurant. She says, "So what's wrong with what they said? Look at her. She's fat, isn't she? They're being honest. She shouldn't be here." What the frick? Are you... God. They say, "Yeah, doing her a favor. She's just embarrassing herself. I mean, look at her." Then they all start laughing. Literally 2 teens and 2 adults, laughing at my little girl while she's standing behind me and trying so hard not to cry. I lost my crap. I say, "Alright, listen, you two," pointing at the parents, "are fudging trash. So they're being honest and that's okay? Alright, fine. Here's some honesty. Your sons are punk-ass bullies, and I promised you, eventually another kid will stand up for themselves and knock their teeth out. I, as a normal adult, fudging despise bullying. You both are crap parents, thinking what your kids are doing is acceptable. Entitled Dad says, "Watch what you're saying to my wife and sons. Your daughter is fat. Deal with it." Yeah? And you're a mean man, and you shouldn't say these things to people. She's crying, and I'm ticked, and even more upset at this. I say, "Watch what I say," or what, bud? What are you gonna do? You and your perfect little family seem to think honesty is alright, no matter what form. So I'm telling you, you're all just bullies. And unlike my daughter, I'm an adult and I won't put up with any more of your bullcrap. Especially if any of you say another word to my daughter, I swear you'll regret it. I was maybe 3 inches from the father's face when I said this. Looking back, maybe I shouldn't have said "or you'll regret it," but I was ticked and in protection mode. Entitled Dad just stares at me without moving for about 10 seconds, with me not moving. I say, "We're not leaving. My daughter just wanted a fun day at the park, and I won't tolerate another negative word said against her. Test me if you want." Entitled Dad and Entitled Mother look at each other before finally Entitled Mother scoffs. "EK1 and 2, let's go. We're going home." They begin walking away down the street towards their house. I'm watching them most of the way because I had a feeling they'd say something else, and I was right, sadly. When they're about 100 or so feet down the road, the dad yells, "Have fun with your fat daughter, punk!" And they hurry their walk. I start running after them. I was done and not putting up with this anymore when I hear my daughter in a calm voice, "Daddy, just let them leave. Now we can play alone." She's smiling now, and I can tell she's right, and she just wants to have this all be over with. "Alright, sweetie, wanna play horse?" "Yeah, you go first. And thanks for sticking up for me, Daddy. I'm sick of bullies." "Always, hun, and I know. Don't worry, let's just have some fun, and I'll always be there to help you when I can." I give her a big hug. We had a good time for the next hour shooting hoops, and then went home. Thanks for reading, guys, and don't put up with bullying. Edit. Thank you guys who gave the awards, and everyone else for their kind words and support. If you are someone who's dealing with bullying, you're not alone, and don't forget that. Be the bigger person, and know that if they are bullying you, you're in control. They're trying to elicit a reaction from you, and it's up to you to give them the satisfaction. I'd help you all if I could. Genuinely. Also, to all of you saying fake, there are always some on all posts. I wish it was, but I wasn't. Dude, I wish my dad was just as awesome. Also, I feel her pain. I was overweight for my age. Then some jerk insulted me before summer. I came back from summer after working off 104 pounds and one-hit KO his tramp ass. I didn't get in trouble because he was bullying another kid. It was filed as self-defense, and he never came near me after that. Good job, Cookie Dog 800. Good for you, dude, honestly. The best way to get rid of a bully, or even befriend the bully, is to beat the living hell out of them. That shows you're no longer at target. You're at Big W. And it also shows you're someone they should respect, or at the very least not mess with. You're a good man with a good heart. Keep on showing that little girl how to be brave, and how to take care of yourself. Best of luck with her mother. I appreciate that, bud. Seriously. And yeah, honestly, her mother just makes everything so much harder. I mean, she has 4 children now, all with different fathers, and she doesn't listen to the doctor's advice. She doesn't listen to anybody. She thinks she's right no matter what. But when I have my daughter, men and her will work on things together. As long as you teach her healthy eating habits and encourage her to ask her mum to make good things instead of junk. I've talked to her mum about it many times. It literally just falls on deaf ears, unfortunately. And bruh, you did great against them. I'm proud of you. By the way, do you have any other interactions with dreadful people like those? If so, you've probably learned a lot of dealing with those people. Good for you. If not, then you've taken a step into a larger world. Honestly, kind of. Back in high school, I was a varsity baseball and football, and I fell in with the popular crowd. But I quickly realized that a lot of my friends, and a lot of the crowd that I was a part of, bully people, and it just enraged me. So every day at lunch, starting sophomore year, I would sit with a different group of outcast kids, and talk and get to know them, and also prevent them from being bullied at lunch, since I was sitting with them. There were actually a couple times when I had to beat up a couple of my friends who I caught bullying other people. There's just something about it to this day that just enrages me. Edit, damn voice text lol, had to change a few things. That's probably what's going on, because I notice there's a lot of words going on here with OP, but the message is good. And our next post was posted by user HollowV, titled, Ex-stepmom releases my cat into the wild. Hooray, my first post into this subreddit. This happened about 7 years ago now, and I'm still mad about it. When I was 11, my dad bought me a cat for my birthday. He was an orange fluff ball named Angelo, and I loved him so much. Everything was my responsibility. Cleaning the litter box, giving him food, brushing, etc. Anything you need to do to take care of a cat. A year later, I got a tiny grey kitten named Dexter. They were my babies. Then the world fell apart. I never believed in the wicked stepmother stereotype until this. My dad and stepmom's fighting got worse and worse to the point where she would hit my dad. Her and her son, who did nothing but complain about things my dad did. So my dad got out of there, and I went to stay with my mum while he looked for a new place to live. Everything was going fine until until things started getting split into the divorce. By terms of the divorce. 1. Her son's car had to be put in her name so my dad wouldn't pay for it. That's another story entirely. 2. All of my dad's and my things had to be returned to our new apartment. 3. I got to keep my cats. Apparently, my stepmom didn't like number 3. She wouldn't return my cats. And if you guys watched Netflix recently, don't f with cats. My dad contacted his lawyer multiple times to try and get Angelo and Dexter, but she kept refusing. Finally, my dad threatened to take her to court so that he could get the cats back. But wait, ooh, what's this? She doesn't have the cats anymore. She actually confessed that she released my cats in the middle of nowhere, and we have a lot of coyotes near where we live, so unless they were picked up by someone, they were almost definitely killed. Stepmom then told my dad he could have the house. She packed her things and left the state. I miss my cats. I haven't been able to get any since Angelo and Dexter, but I really hope to get one in the future. But I have a new stepmom now, and she's the nicest person in the world. So, sort of happy ending. Edit, a lot of people have been saying that we should sue for animal cruelty because of what my stepmom did. But the big reason we didn't do this is because even if we sued, it wouldn't bring my cats back. We tried calling shelters and putting up missing posters, but we never found anything. Even if we sued, it would give money and not my cats. It was really the idea that no amount of money would be able to bring back those 2 cats, and at the time, I wasn't ready to just replace them. I hope this answers people's questions about that. Edit 2, this is also back in 2013. I was just a kid back then, and we don't know where she is now. There's not much we can do now, but we did our best at the time. Lilith Firehawk says, frick your evil stepmom, put up flyers everywhere. Cat's name, your phone number for the contact, and whatever reward money seems fair to you. We really tried to find them, but they're long gone. This happened back in 2013 too. And a story from Super Derpy Gamer MK1. My mum had a douchebag abusive boyfriend who let my cat, Thunder, outside when we were at my grandparents' house in Toronto. We were moving so we couldn't keep the cats at home like we usually do. Instead of doing the responsible thing of telling us that the cat had accidentally got out, he waited until there was no way we would be able to find him. I miss Thunder, and now every time I go to Toronto, I can't help but think that he will start pawing at the door like he used to. He was a cat we let outside. Freak anyone who gets in the way between a person and their cat. And our next post is titled, Mum blows up at a Disney cast member, gets VIP seats for nothing. So this was posted at Casual IMA, titled, Hello, I worked at a Disney NGM, now Hollywood. I was told to share this here. I was working at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, or Epic as it was known to the cast members. And we had already closed the theatre for the start of a show. When the theatre gets to maxed capacity, we legally can't put more people in there because of fire code, etc. This woman barrels up to me, gets within 6 inches of my face, and waves her paper fast-pass ticket in my face. She demanded to be allowed into the show, and screams that her child, a little boy no more than 6 years old, needs to see this show, or his day is ruined. She was screaming so loud, veins were popping out of the front of her head. I stood there, calm and collected, explaining to her that the theatre is full and we can't let anyone else in. She pushes past me with one arm, holding her child's arm in the other. She marches straight for the ropes that block the entrance and tries to hoist her son over the rope. Before she gets that far, a manager walks up and puts his hands in the air to try to contain the situation. He offers to get the kid an ice cream and provide VIP seats to the next show, if she calms down and comes back later. After screaming about how rude I was to her, which I was not, she accepts the tokens of kindness. My manager turns to me and asks me how long my shift is today. I told him I was off work at 6:30. He nods, and he tells the irate woman that he will have me personally escort her to the VIP section down front. He writes her a ticket voucher for the ice cream and seats, and she fumed off with not even a thank you. My manager turns to me and apologizes on behalf of her. Then he asks me, how many more shows do we have today? I looked at the clock and realized it was after 5 p.m, and well into the middle of our last show of the day. I looked at my manager as a sly smile crept across his face. He had just given an entitled parent a VIP pass to a show that won't happen. The respect I already had for him just skyrocketed through the roof. I was long gone by the time she came back, but I would love to imagine the look on her face when she came back at 7 for the last show. Kid got an ice cream and mum got mad. It was a win-win. Your manager is awesome. I would love to see her face. Arms flailing, spittle forming in the corner of her mouth. Got a feel for the kid who I'm sure bears the brunt of these tantrums. It's gotta be scary to see your mum totally lose control over herself like that. I had a mother who pulled crap like that. It's too much a part of everyday life to be scary. It's more embarrassing and exhausting. You know the day's completely ruined once she loses it like that the first time. The entire rest of the day will be spent listening to frothing about how rude the worker was to her, and probably listening to her complain to anybody who will listen about the awful thing that happened. The only saving grace is she's not actively mad at you, so long as you make enough noise that sounds like agreeing with her. Exhausting. Oh, this sounds fun. Haha. I feel like you guys have to put up with a lot of crap from people though. I always am nice to cast members because they're always going above and beyond. And it's just common courtesy. I've worked retail, so I go out of my way to be nice to the employees. Indeed, unless they are being complete tools, and I mean really bad, I will be extremely polite and patient with retail and fast food workers. They have enough crappy people to deal with. I figure the least I can do is to give them one pleasant interaction. And our next story was posted by user Master Havoc, titled, My Entitled Mother Gets Hit with Reality Regarding CVOID-19 and Asians. Hey guys, I have been writing a lot of stories about how my mother has been handling COVID-19 situation. For a mini recap, she has told me not to go to Shenyuan, a Chinese stage play of risk of being infected, threatening to bar me from the house if I go to Chinatown, and questioning me if I'm sitting by Asians on the train. Now this is a success story, as my mother recently watched a news report that detailed the harassment, racism, and bullying the Asians were suffering during this whole situation. My mother was disgusted by what she saw. She nearly cried that Asians in America were buying guns because they feared for their life due to the threats that they were getting. She wanted to throw her phone when she saw a black person try to disinfect a young Asian man minding his business. My mother even felt bad that a lot of Chinese-owned businesses were losing money because of this whole thing. I said after the report was over, I thought you were giving me the reality. Mum, this is reality. You saw it. That is the reality of many Asian Americans in this country. I was just trying to keep you safe. I didn't know that it was this bad, I'm sorry. We hugged after that and said sorry to me because I was right. She plans to have dinner with me and brother in Chinatown her next paycheck to help out. I should mention she compared what she saw to me to being black many years ago in America. We are black, by the way. I'm just happy my mother woke up and finally saw the truth for once, and not what she thought was the reality. I feel a lot of the dumb things you're seeing with COVID-19 is people creating their own theories and fears in their head. It's not the media telling them, but something in their mind to assume it. As a guy with an Asian wife, I thank you. She isn't Chinese, but she has been afraid of going outside and people discriminating against her. This is why I have higher hopes for the younger generations over boomers. We went grocery shopping and had trouble finding groceries in a lot of the normal places. Stopped at the Korean/Japanese market we usually do, and it was business as usual. As annoying as it was that they were getting a lack of business due to racism, I will happily take advantage and shop there. Freak everyone else for being ignorant racist jerks. My mum and I went grocery shopping on Thursday since she was leaving for the weekend for alone time, just starting online college. And while waiting in line, there was a woman who was from China that moved here 5 years ago. The lines were long and moved slowly, so we chatted a bit. She was very kind and was super sweet to us and spoke about her high school life. Before she left the store, she smiled to us and thanked us for not being scared of being close to her, and for not taking anything from her cart while she ran to get salt, since there was barely anything on the shelves. It really sucks that this whole coronavirus fear has been affecting Asians from any country in a negative way, and that they have been facing so much discrimination. Not to rag on Shen Yun too much, but it's sort of the propaganda wing of a cult, so take the message it presents with a grain of salt. One article about it that says stepping into the uncanny, unsettling world of Shen Yun. On another note, I had to yell at a mum who snatched her kid as I walked past her. I'm Asian, not Chinese, and stuff like this is too common. Even when the infection first came out, my coworkers were like, "Oh, don't get us sick now," like it was supposed to be a joke. And our last post is by user Britty2073, titled Psycho-Religious Karen. This happened about 13 years ago when I was 17. A little backstory. I'm a girl and I went to a private boarding school for kids with learning disabilities in the northeast of the US. One of my disabilities was that I would easily get influenced by other people if I hung out with them a lot and would let them take advantage of me. I think that's just normal sometimes for some people. I also have high-functioning autism. Not sure if all of this is important to the story, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Anyways, there was a girl at my school that wanted me to go down with her to her home for the weekend in Georgia. We'll call her Veronica. Veronica was 18, and I only knew her for who she was from school. Didn't know anything about her background, family, etc. I do want to add that my family isn't very religious, and I never went to a church service in my life, or have ever read the Bible. I'm also attracted to both male and females, and discovered this while being in boarding school. This is important later. I flew down with Veronica to her hometown in Georgia and met her family, including her mum, who we will refer to as Karen. Karen and the family seemed very nice and welcoming. We went out to eat that night and had a great time and everything. Later on that night, right when we were going to bed, Veronica and I were laying down and talking. She was asking me questions like if I ever kissed a girl and stuff like that. I said yes, and she mentioned that she would kiss a girl as well. I said, "Oh, that's cool." She then started holding my hand, and one thing led to another. We eventually experimented. Right after that happened, we laid there, and she got really upset. I don't remember her exact words or mine, but it went something along the lines like this. I feel upset. How come? Because I feel guilty for what we did. We were talking some more, and she made me feel guilty that we did this. I don't know what to say, so I said I was sorry and tried to give her a hug. She said she needed space and left the room. I didn't know what to do, and was assuming maybe she just wanted to think. Boy, was I wrong. I was sitting on the bed on my laptop that I brought, just waiting for her. Veronica finally came in sobbing, along with her mum, Karen. The whole conversation went like this. Karen, staring at me viciously. "Whatever happened tonight between you two, it never happened." She freaking told her mum what we did. I'm scared and confused. I'm like, okay. What you two did tonight was very wrong. Veronica is not like this. She's a Christian. I was confused by that and didn't know what to say, and trying to de-escalate the situation, I said, she's a very good person. Of course she's a very good person, but you are not sleeping with her in here tonight. You can sleep in the other room. We all then go into the other room that I was going to sleep in, and she continues the conversation like this. Now, Veronica, do you want me to send her home tomorrow? Veronica, still sobbing, says, No, it's fine. I just want to let you know Veronica is not like this, okay? And this will not ruin her year at the boarding school name. Homosexuality is very wrong, and it will ruin your life. If you feel like you're attracted to girls, then you need help. If anyone tells you that it's okay to be that way, it's not. It's wrong. She just kept blabbering and yelling at me how bad homosexuality is, and that it ruins people's lives, and that it's not normal. Yeah, but how good's the footy though? She then proceeded to tell me about Sodom and Gomorrah, explaining why homosexuality is wrong. Then Karen says, Veronica will ask God to take that image out of her head. Veronica's sobbing is like, my mum is right. I'm not like that, and it was wrong. Right before they left the room, Karen turns around and says, oh, and OP, if you tell anyone at boarding school name what you and her did, I will tell everyone that you are lying, and if anything, I will tell them that you forced her into it. She made me feel like I was such a horrible person that night that I cried myself to sleep. The next couple of days, Karen and Veronica acted very cold and awkward around me, and they both claimed they couldn't sleep that night. When Veronica and I flew up back north, Karen made it so we sat in different seats, as if I had a freaking disease. I called my mum when we got back to the school, and I told her everything that had happened. My mum was ticked, and even wanted to call Karen up and tramp her out. I told her not to do that, so she didn't, but she did call up my school, and let them know what had happened to me when I was down in Georgia. The devil went down to Georgia, didn't she? And how the mum acted toward me. The school did tell my mum that Karen was crazy, and they will talk to me about it, which they did. I told them everything. The school told me not to worry about it, and that I didn't do anything wrong, and that it was very inappropriate for what Karen did. Everyone, including my school, knows that I would never force anyone to do anything. Like I said, I wasn't very religious before and after this whole incident. This woman left a bad taste of Christianity in my mouth, and Veronica left an even worse taste, I imagine. I know not all religious people are like this, but it seems like people like her give religious people and religion in general a bad name. So Emperor Mittens asks, did you ever learn what happened to Veronica? It's just awful for her to have such a horrible woman for a mother who had coerced her to think that way. After we got to school, she did still act awkward around me, but I didn't care. But I has other friends there to support me. We were also in the same dorm, but not roommates. She tried to befriend me after a few months, but I wasn't having any of that. I also forgot to add that after school I was done and I went home. Kind of pro-revenge. I messaged almost everyone who went to the school and told them what happened. She messaged me and asked why I'd told everyone what we did. I told her it was because that whole situation was messed up and she deserved it. I was kind of a biatch back then, lol. She then reminded me that if I did that, her mum would turn it back on me. I told her I didn't care, because everyone knew what kind of person I was and would never do something like that. Also, a few years ago, one of Veronica's friends, let's call her Andrea, wanted to hang out with me. I said sure, and suggested maybe at her place, but she was nervous about that because I guess Karen told Andrea's mum that I forced Veronica to kiss me. But anyways, last time I knew, I guess Veronica got married. Not sure if she still is though. So what do you guys think of this situation? I think it's like everyone's the asshole in this situation, like, Veronica's in a real rock and a hard place. I feel like she was just very ignorant at the time, and her mum was the safety net, and she didn't know that the mum was going to be that crazy about it because she's scared. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it was the right thing that Britty, the OP, has done here, but what do you do in this situation? Because the mum is just going to destroy Veronica no matter what. I feel like she made it worse by doing that to her and telling everyone, but I mean, the people deserve to know, don't they? Anyway guys, that's the end of the episode. That's my hot take on it. You tell me what you think down in the comments below, and also watch some of my playlists if you want to see some more content. That's all I have for you today. I hope you guys had a good day, night, sleep, whatever else you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.